we are, I think, on Tuesday it is today, that I'm riding her here. Anyway, you can hear it, the wind is just horrific, and just fiddling a little bit while I go to get on. Usually I actually wouldn't ride the horses when it's gale force winds. There's no point. You know, I'm not going to get much out of them really, apart from probably messing about all the time. You know, they've got the wind up their bum, and it gives them the perfect opportunity to spook at everything and just have a little play.
Oh, what's right?
So, you know, unless there's a reason for it, I don't usually, but I kind of wanted to see how Missy was going to be after her Rona rode her. She came and she rode her absolutely beautifully. She's done an amazing job with getting her as far as she did. And we had her cantering on both reins. Cantered lovely on the left rein. When she went on the right-handed canter, you could see her tensing up, and she was ready to have a little bronc, quite a big one actually, before she went into canter, and I could see it coming. She knew it was coming. It was kind of one of those get on and go, and she rode her through it so well. In all fairness, she can come and ride any of my horses anytime. The way she rode like that, it was really good. She didn't interfere with the men, she just left her alone. So she's done a cracking job with her. So what I don't want to do today is get on her and again have all these bucks. I kind of want to get it out of the system if we can, and try and stop any bucking going into canter and having, you know, the anxiety there ready for it to happen. So doing this on a windy day probably isn't the best idea I've had in the world, but here we go. So you can see as we're trotting around, she's a little bit uptight, you know, the head's bobbing about all over the place. She's a little bit choppier in front than she has been. What she is doing is she's trying to stretch her along with me. Now, what I've got to figure out with Missy now is how much of it is actually she wants to put her head down and bugger off with me. How much of it is that she wants to stretch over her back and, you know, loosen her body up, or how much of it is actually that she wants to, you know, just do what she wants. So we've got to see. Winnie was deciding to have a little run around the school and wanted to go and dig a hole at the top of it, and she didn't react to that. Harry's wandering around there. She's not reacting to him at all either. So she's quite a funny mare, because there's only certain things that she reacts to, and the majority of that is herself. She reacts to herself and she reacts to her rider. She's not too fussed about everything going on. So I'm changing the rein on her. I just want to try and keep her attention span on me as much as I can. And again, you can see with the trot, she's just kind of stretching along, but she's still so uptight and kind of still getting a little bit of this choppiness at the moment. But with the weather the way it is, you know, I can't have everything. So I'm just being grateful, but for now, she's behaving. And I keep saying things like, oh, she's behaving. To be fair to her, she's being really, really good about everything. You know, she's exceeded my expectations of how quickly she's coming on. We've just got to keep improving this now, ready for, you know, her going home soon. So the trot is getting better. She's kind of allowing me to ride her a little bit more. And I always find with mares especially, she's having a spook at Winnie, there we go. They've got to allow you to ride them. So what I've done is I wanted to run the trot a little bit, which is quite hard for Missy because she's very short striding. So I didn't want a big over exuberant transition into canter. That would have ended up with her bucking, you know. So this is the rein that she bucked with her owner the other day. So I just tried to increase that trot until she went into canter herself. Now we're kind of a little bit all over the place there. And you can see, you know, you've got a bit of front end action, a bit of back end. And she's not, oh, yes, and the banner moved. The banner blew in the wind. So I kind of get a little bit seated there. Actually, really did bash my wrist onto her wither when she did it. But again, quite interesting to see how she reacts after a spook. And she reacted really well. There was nothing, you know, she didn't punish me for it. So look at Winnie. I've lost her concentration a little bit. But she didn't punish me that she'd had a spook. And a lot of horses, you know, if they really wanted to, if they were being naughty, they'd have dropped the shoulder, they'd have had a buck, they'd have done everything. I'm not going to continue cantering her on that rein because she's become a little bit unsettled after it. The banner might actually blow again. It doesn't seem to get them from this side. So we're going to go on to this and I'll just talk you through it now. So she's a little bit tense with the trot and I do want to try and canter on this rein today. So there, I'm just pushing a little bit, pushing, and there she goes into canter. I'm not asking for a transition. I'm not asking her to sit behind and then I'm not asking her to jump into canter. I don't want that. She's just got to run into it. And we're very, very much like a rocking horse. She's actually got a lovely canter. The problem with Missy is she's a bit too kind of developed that she doesn't know what to do with herself. So she's got all this little powerhouse, but she, you know, she's never probably been able to canter like this properly. Feeling well, do you know what I mean? She's, you know, she has her moments where she's a bit explosive with it. So she's now trying to juggle how the back end works with the front end and everything in between. And that's my job to try and help her. And then hopefully she won't get upset about life and we'll eventually have that really nice, relaxed, steady canter. So this is today, Thursday. We've gone from windy, gale force winds to everywhere being frozen. The plan had been that we were going to actually take Missy for her first hack with us. But yeah, that obviously went out the window when I drove to the yard and the road was frozen. So we're back in the school again. And I've got her own saddle on now. I have been using mine purely because when we have a tricky one, I actually like my saddle. It's moulded to my bum and I feel very secure. So I'm happy enough to put her own saddle back on her. And yeah, there was a bit of a fidgeting about while I was, you know, sorting out the pads and finding a girth for it and all sorts. So I did kind of annoy her a little bit. And you can see she's just a little bit on edge. So she just got a bit impatient with me messing about. And I think it shows here as we start, she's just not as relaxed as she usually is. So to me, it was kind of like, okay, I've got to kind of keep the options open because I've changed the saddle. Maybe it's the saddle. But you know, I don't actually think it is. I just need to adjust the irons because I think I have one leg longer than the other because I'm certainly not level. So again, you know, she's just like, oh my God, come on. You can see her. She's just getting fed up with me. And that's the first time I've had a bunny hop with her. So I was kind of thinking, oh, great, you know, is it all to do with this saddle or is it all to do with the fact that I really kind of wound her up a little bit before we came down? And she's a mare, you know, she kind of gets a bit grouchy. It takes a little while to get that grouchiness out of her system again. I'm sure there's a few of us that can relate to that feeling. So I'm not, again, going to, you know, punish her for being a bit opinionated here. We're just going to have a little discussion, have a chat and get over it. So what I find with Missy is when she's having a bit of a moment, instead of working her through it, which some horses we will do that with, she has to walk. She's so much better if actually you just say, come on, just walk, and she chills. And it's the best thing that I found to do with her. Just take her away, have a little walk and try again. And actually trotting again there after the walk, you can see she's a lot better than what we started with. She's still throwing her head about at me. But I'm also again at that kind of crossroads point with her where I can feel that she's like, come on, let me on with it. How far do I let her take it? And I think today there was a mixture of emotions on both of our part as to, you know, we changed something a little bit. And it does make a difference. And they are so super sensitive as well. Maybe I'm sitting a little bit differently, you know, maybe I'm feeling a little bit differently. Who knows? Maybe she's just picked up on all of that. or as I said, just the fact that trying to find the pads and the girths to fit the saddle, she's just gone, right, fed up of waiting now, coming to the school, let's get on with it. I mean, she's not, apart from the little bunny hop, she's not doing anything really naughty. She just seems to be a little bit fighty with me at the moment. And again, it's kind of like, okay, how much do I let the handbrake off? So we just changed the rein. You can see the little stroppy bits. And I do want to canter her today, but at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, am I just being stupid? Am I asking for trouble here? And it's a bit of a hard one because Missy is very much, and I did say to somebody today about it, I said she's not physically exhausting when I ride her, which is what a lot of them are. She's mentally exhausting. See, I'm just not feeling it with her again. She's just winding herself up more and more. So I'm like, no, just walk away. Walk away and chill out. And this is the tricky bit with her because I've kind of got to get into her head. I really have to try and work out what she wants, what she needs. I've got to be a bit of a one step ahead of her thinking. So it's mentally draining when you have a mare like that. I mean, it's so rewarding as well, but it's hard. Every little thing she does, she's telling me something different, and I've got to try and figure out how to react best to that. And this is the thing with mares. You have to be very open-minded and you have to listen to them. And if you don't, there's no point. And again, I think there's a lot of us that can relate to this. When we're trying to put our point across, and we're definitely right. Sometimes we just need a bit of coaxing to kind of realise that actually we might not be, but of course we always are. So off we go again. We're off on a little trot, and again she's just a little bit pulley with me, a little bit snatchy, but I'm starting to feel her again a little bit more relaxed than she was before. So we've come in, we've trotted, we've walked, we've trotted, we've walked. And I'm just kind of thinking, okay, I need to get the brave pants on in a minute and just let's have that canter. And you can see there, actually, it's interesting for me to watch the video. I could see her kind of, just skipping a little bit in that corner. So I think she was anticipating the fact that we were going to have a canter there. And it is good if you can get people to video you and then you can look back and you see things that actually at the time you kind of might miss a little bit. So I'm just asking for a little bit of the quicker trot, just round the bend, just round the corners, just on a circle, and just trying to kind of get her a little bit more focused. There we go. Come on, Missy. It's probably like one of our longest sessions today. There, that's it. She's coming. There we go. And I just kind of let the handbrake off just a little bit. And there was a kind of bit of a mixed, are we, aren't we, are we, aren't we? But there was no reaction. There was no booking. You can see she bounces along. She's like a little rocking horse or a little kangaroo just bouncing away there. Now what I've got to do is try and open up that canter for her because she wants to do it, but her body is still kind of she's holding it all in. And in a way, it's quite good because she's trying so hard to behave. And I think that's a lot of the issues we have here is that, she's like, she's trying to please now. But it's a big canter there. And, although she can have these really little choppy strides, she's actually a real big moving mare. So I just make loads of fuss of her. And you can see she's very relaxed, her head's up, but, she's relaxed. I'm riding around there, one hand, giving her a fuss, and she's not going anywhere. I'm really pleased with that one. And we've gone on to the right rein first again, which was, was it a bit of an issue when her owner first cantered on that rein, or was it just that she was anticipating it after we'd done the first canter on the left rein? All those kind of little things you've got to check. So we've come round and I've gone straight into canter off the corner with her. And again, you can really see her kind of bouncing along there, and she's just kind of pulling her body along. Now, the important thing is here is that we don't restrict her, because if we start restricting her, she's going to feel uncomfortable. And the last thing we want Missy to feel is uncomfortable. So I'm actually kind of throwing the reins a little bit more at her, the more confident I get with her, and just allowing her to take that longer frame. Because what she needs to do is, so many people spend so much time trying to shorten the frame on the horse With Missy, I need to open that up. And there, I'm just pushing a little bit, push, 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 and she's just going a little bit more forward. Good girl. There we go. And you know, everything that we wanted has come out of today. We've finished on a really, really good note. Maybe I should have listened to her a little bit more and let the handbrake off sooner, who knows. But we've survived another day and she's been very, very well behaved, and I probably learn a little bit more about her.